Alright, we're going to be talking about the ergonomics of Vim with a regular keyboard and what we can do to make things better. Um, the first issue that you run into when using Vim is when you're in insert mode and you need to get to normal mode. And the way you do that is you need to press escape. So you're centered here, and the escape key is top left, right? So you need to do one of these, or you need to do one of these. I usually do, I hit it like that. Um, and either way that works. But then after a while, you'll realize that's kind of painful to be stretching your hand over and over again. Um, and so something better might be switching it to caps lock. And so that's like what most people have is caps lock to escape. So you just hit caps lock and you're back to uh, normal mode. So we can call that like phase one, I guess. Another horrible thing is using Control U and Control D. So let me just quickly show you that. So you want to go down, so you hit Control D. And let me show you now with the camera what that entails physically. So you're here and you want to do D and Control, and so you have to do this. This opening, in my opinion, is terrible, and it's actually like damaging, I feel, to your hands long term. Like doing this, I, I don't know. Maybe it's just like code for a very long time, and don't, I start to like not like that. It's a big movement. You want to just minimize movement. So Control D is a bad one. Anything involving control is actually pretty bad in terms of, at least on my keyboard, it is just like we explained. This is bad. This is equivalently bad for all the same reasons. So we really want to not use that. And actually, if you really think about it, any like theoretically this is also bad because I'm doing this every time. So that's bad, that's bad, that's bad, that's bad, that's bad. I mean, I can use thumb under. That's also bad in my opinion because you go from here and then you're going to go and put your thumb under. That's also bad. So that's bad, that's bad, that's bad. The whole top row is bad. Literally, the only thing that is good to use is these four, these four, and these four. And the ones down the middle are actually bad as well. Like yanking is also bad. Like hitting Y is bad. That's bad. That is bad. That's bad. It's worse on the other side too. Like hitting yank because your hand is centered here, and this is like your anchor point usually. You have to literally like do a full hand movement. Your index cannot extend because the index is always almost fully extended, whereas these fingers have a bit of leeway. But the index cannot like do that as well. So that yanking is bad. Like if you just extend the regular idea of Vim, you start to realize that like okay, something like okay, maybe I was kind of overdoing it when I said Y was bad. I do still think that, but definitely everything over here is like bad. So how can we fix that? Well, we want to be able to use these keys, but not have to go that far. So, if I want to hit escape, which is mapped to caps lock, then instead of hitting escape, I want to just hit this because that is right next to it, and so mentally it makes sense. But the problem with that is that that's already a key. I think it's A, right? So we can't do that. So what we can do is we can make a mapping chord layer on top of not on top of Vim, but inside of like your operating system. And specifically, I'm only going to be talking in the context of like Linux right now, just because it's easier to do stuff there. Maybe eventually I'll make like a solution that's not for Linux, but for now, let's look at that. So, um, right. Instead of, so, I mean, I could explain how I made this program and everything, but I think it's better to just run the program and just show the difference. So, I'm just going to run this, um, and let's go back here. Okay, so the conceptual idea that I just explained to you was that we want to use the keys. We also want to push them inwards, like shove them in to the left, um, in a way so that um, so that the things are still familiar, but we don't have to stretch our pinky. So the way I ended up doing this is I used this mapping where you hit space and then the key before it. It's not perfect because it means that the regular space doesn't do anything, and it's like it's either delayed or its space occurs on like the release of the spacebar because you have chords starting with space. But nevertheless, it's still better than breaking your pinky or getting like repetitive. What is it? Whatever that is that you get that when you do the same thing over and over again, repetitive something injury. We don't want that. So what we do, so let's just talk about this really quick. So let's say we're in insert mode, right? Here we are. So now to exit, I just hit space and then this. So, and now I'm back in normal mode. So this is way better. And the way I ended up mapping, so control is here and shift is here. So we map shift to this one, we map control to that one, we map meta key to that one, and we map alt to this one. So now a control D to go down is literally space control this, right? So I can go from here to go down, right? So this is way better than having to do like that because I can maintain this like cluster, this finger cluster while moving. And so by pushing the keys inward and then just adding one layer of like chording on it, you can get a way better experience. And also, even on the right hand side, you can do the same thing. So like, if you think about it, right is even worse because the keys are actually two away. So enter is a big problem, but most people don't care about enter. I care about enter. So with enter, um, this over and over, in my opinion, it's just not good. Like, I don't know if you've ever held a phone in your hand, like a heavy phone, or you're like trying to sleep and you're holding it above you. You can like feel like the tendons or whatever in your hand just like getting tired out. So what I recommend here is we're gonna map this key, which is just like the translation to enter. So now we're in insert mode. All I do is I hit space and then this. So I'm getting my new lines there. So in my opinion, that's better. So what I'm doing is I'm just shoving everything that's annoying into the left and then adding like a one layer mapping to it. So yeah, I just wanted to share this. This is in the spirit of Vim. I mean, people who use Vim are like, oh, like Vim is perfect, but Vim is definitely not perfect. It has a really good idea, and if you want to push it even further, you can. I think it has good defaults, but if you're writing code for hours and hours every day, um, I don't know. I think it's worth it, and yeah, I think that's all I really wanted to say. But yeah.